tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
You guys.
I'll tell you a tale.
We just kind of have to. There's as you wish, as we wished for this.
Yes.
There's a joke here, I promise. Hello, Transformers Robots in Disguise fans, and welcome to another episode of the AFTERBUZZ TV Robots in Disguise After Show. We are covering episode 3, Metal Meltdown. And with me, I have my lovely co-host this evening, Speedster Emma Fyffe.
Hello, that's me. You can follow me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe.
Megan Lord Megantron Salinas.
Hey guys, you can tweet at me at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
And I am Katie Kia Prime Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. We've got the live chat. We have the Twitter hashtag, which is ABTVRID. And Alexis the Wrecker Taurus is out on a special mission. She should be back next week.
Yes.
So I think we can end the opening theme and explain the joke behind that one. What did you guys think of this week's episode?
I mean, we already have a nickname for this Decepticon. Let's get real.
We do.
That did not take long.
No, and it's so funny because first of all, I really, really enjoyed this episode. I mean, this season so far is just like hitting the ground running, and I'm all about it. And the Decepticon in this episode, I mean, even when he and Bee were having that duel where Bee was fighting with the Decepticon hunter and he was fighting with the sword, I mean, it was that duel
was
from
so
Princess
cool.
Bride. But like, it was the duel from the Princess Bride. Like, that was all I could think about.
You seem a good bot. I hate to kill you.
Yeah.
You seem a good bot. I hate to die.
At any point, you were expecting him to go, but I know something you don't know. I am not left-handed.
Yeah.
Although he was fighting with two. So,
To be fair.
Yeah. He was dual wielding.
I really liked this episode as well. Although I'm a little bit torn because I love the new characters that they're bringing in. I love a lot of the groundwork that they're playing.
Right.
That they're laying for this stuff. I love seeing the return of an old one from Beast Wars. That's great.
Oh my God, we lost our minds
So good.
when we watched that. And then wait, what does IMDb say? We have to know who it's Scorponok.
We died a little.
There was screaming.
So and I love Saberhorn's design. Like, with the
Oh,
exception
man,
of his
yeah.
horn, he looks like a Gundam, especially when he's holding the swords.
Oh, definitely.
He looks just like a Gundam,
Yeah.
and it's so cool.
Well, and I like in general that, you know, they in Robots in Disguise, they kind of tend towards that sort of like very anime looking giant robot.
yeah.
I mean, like,
yeah.
like Sideswipe is straight up anime.
Sideswipe is anime hair the
anime
robot.
hair.
Let's be real.
It's true. And then, of course, you know, we've got a lot of sort of the more like Asian influences we see in the bots, which is also very common in series like Gundam. So, yeah, I really enjoy that design aesthetic a lot.
Yeah. Although I will say that for a lot of our actual main cast, I feel like we've kind of tread this ground just from a story perspective. I mean, I get the purpose of like the conflict in this particular episode, but at the same time, I'm like, I feel like all of these characters are smarter than their way they've been portrayed in this episode. So I'm conflicted. Like, with our main characters, I'm a little annoyed, but I'm really excited about literally everything else.
Yeah.
See, I agree and disagree.
Yeah.
I can do both. I multitask.
You're allowed.
It's been a long week, you guys. I agree with you in terms of Russell because this came right the heck out of nowhere and will probably never show up again. And it's just like, we needed drama and we needed something for the humans to do. So here's this. We're going to work a little bit out of character for this and just go. Like, oh, that was disappointing.
I was going to say, the only thing is I felt a little bit like this sort of collector mentality that Russell had gotten into was justified from the point of view that he is Denny's son.
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And so and the fact fact of the matter is no matter how smart you are, you can get wrapped up when you get very fixated on something. You can get wrapped up in your own desires. So yeah, you can do some stupid stuff, but like as a whole, between that and the strong arm and Grimlock stuff that was going on, I was like, I feel like we, like as a whole, we're all smarter than this. But honestly, but again, I get what they were going for both of those.
Yeah.
So.
I was okay with Strong Arm and Grim just because they did shake up the team dynamic and they're down a member that's been there from the start.
Well, and
so you did see a lot of Strong Arm and Sideswipe teaming up in season 1, and they're very used to working with each other, where Grim just kind of does his own thing a lot.
Well, and that actually was one of the things that I did like about this episode was the fact that Strong Arm acknowledged that, you know, for all that they bicker all the time, like
they're a good team.
She and Sideswipe are a good team. They got to the point that they really work well together, and
like they use shorthand when they're on missions. They understand each other's signals. Yeah, they're in sync all the time.
Yeah, and I just want to address, so since DBZ King 02 says in the chat, and since when are Strong Arm and Sideswipe such good buddies? It's not that they're good buddies. It's that
they're good teammates.
They're an effective team, even though they're constantly at each other's throats.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would argue that, you know, in many ways, Strong Arm and Grimlock gets along with everybody in his,
he's a big teddy bear.
Absolutely, he's very much sort of the emotional intelligence of the group, and so you would think that naturally you get along with somebody really well. You guys are going to be able to work together as a team, no problem. But it's realistic that sometimes there are people you really, really like, or who are just generally good, likable humans, or in this case, bots
that you don't work well with.
Exactly.
If you've ever gotten into a group project with your friends and then realized that this was a mistake.
That's a good way to ruin friendship.
Like, you could still be friends afterwards if you're lucky, but a lot of times it's like, I love you as a human being, but oh my God.
Yeah.
And some friends don't make good roommates.
Yeah,
same way.
Yeah, and Allie in the chat just jumps in saying, literally reiterating exactly what I just said, that Strong Arm and Sideswipe just work really well off of each other.
Yeah. And so having to step back and go, okay, I'm missing the person that I usually bounce off of. We need to do this now because we're down several team members and they're not coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
We have to pick up the slack.
Absolutely.
And so Grimlock being really confused and annoyed because, okay, you want me to do this thing, but you're not explaining it. And Strong Arm just being really annoyed because she's so accustomed to doing things a certain way, and now she can't anymore. She has to go back to square one.
Yeah.
And for someone like her, that's just like, I did all this already. Why do I have to do it again?
Why
can't you be on my level?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense. So I was perfectly okay with that particular arc as characters, but pairing it up with Russell just kind of going off the rails and going, oh, shiny. I was like, oh, honey, you are smarter than that.
It's a little facepalm worthy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's extremely facepalm worthy.
And the thing is, like, it came out of
nowhere.
But that particular him being like, ooh, shiny, I want to go get that thing to put in my trophy case. Like, that came out of a scene that I really enjoyed because I always love when Denny and Russell dress up and try to deceive people. It's great. It's so funny.
Just the bit with the guards.
Yeah.
Like, they want the guard shifts to be shorter. We've been here for 20 minutes. Real short.
New union policy.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
Right?
And then when we were watching it, you made the point of, I wouldn't have left. I would have wanted to stay there and been paid for my 8 hours.
I'm hourly, guys. I'm not going anywhere.
I feel like we're still working with like citizens of Pawnee level intelligence that people will just roll with all of the ridiculous stuff that they make up. And that it would only work in Crown City.
I'm writing a web series about Crown City.
Citizens of Crown City.
Yeah, Citizens of Crown City.
Sign me up. Just the one little fan club that kind of get, or the whole city's in on it. It's like, no, we all know what's happening. And if someone comes up and they have the worst excuse ever, you buy it and then you go hide and set up a video camera because giant robots are about to happen.
Yeah, see, I envision it being a mix of like those crazy fan people that are like, no, there are robots, we're totally gonna catch them on camera, and then you're sort of just like your city council that's just like they know it's happening, but they just agree to roll with it, as you say, like Parks and Rec.
I was gonna say, I imagine like a Leslie Knope having to talk about it.
Like we have the Parks and Rec City Council, and then we have the fan club from Love and Monsters.
Yep.
Without the really awful monster.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we got to do this, you guys. We say this like every episode, but at some point we got to do this. So yeah, the citizens of Pawnee strike again. Let's talk about our con. Let's talk about the dread pirate Saberhorn. All right, let's do this. Wow.
Like between him and Overlord,
Overload.
That's what. Sorry, and it came out Overlord. I don't know why.
It's fine.
But
between Wesley and Jib Janine.
Yeah. But the for some reason I have a really big soft spot right now for like
melodrama.
Really melodramatic, like arrogant, and yet somehow still really charming individuals. And so like this episode and last episode I really love, and this guy being like an Earl Flynn gentle con, as he refers to himself, it's just hilarious to watch.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I feel like they've gone a very funny direction with the cons so far this season, which overall, I mean, there is a certain element of humor to it because they are all based on animals, and so there is, you know, a certain level of embodying sort of stereotypes of these animals. But I feel like the thing is, with the two cons that we've seen so far this season, the new ones that we've really got to spend some time with. I mean, we saw a whole bunch at the end of this episode. And we'll talk about that later.
We did.
But the ones that have been, you know, the primary antagonists for the past couple of episodes, yes, they are extremely funny and they are extremely stylized.
They're also extremely competent.
Exactly. They're very competent and very dangerous. So it really works for me.
So, like, just because they're going, oh, you know, and all dramatically, or tally-ho, like, they're still very threatening.
Yeah, just because they're, like, mustache-twirling villains. Like, they mean business.
They did.
He'll still
I'm sorry. I'm still not Overload. I'm still not over Overload.
He was great.
I was done with him.
Yeah,
I liked him.
And the thing that I think is worth mentioning about the two cons that we've really spent a lot of time with is, on their end, there's also a certain level of respect for their adversaries.
Yes. I wouldn't put it that way with Overload. He was an arrogant jerk. But definitely that way for Saberhorn.
Yeah.
Like, but he also kind of contradicted himself, like, I'm an honorable villain, and that's not sportsmanlaic, but here I'm going to hold this small child hostage and make
well, you know.
I do love that he seems to have read the evil Overlord list, because he straight up said, I'll be staying to make certain of your demise. I wrote it down.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you have learned.
Yeah, but
you are not a James Bond villain.
Exactly. I mean, that's the thing is, what I mean sort of by respect is that, you know, particularly in the case of Saberhorn, is it's like, he realizes that his adversaries are very competent. I mean, that's that whole first duel he has with Bumblebee.
It's like, this is really cool. I have an opponent. Great. Get back up. Let's fight some more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he could have easily killed Bee right then and there, but was having so much fun that he decided, nope, get back up. Let's have a sportsman-like competition here.
Well, he probably doesn't deal with many people on his skill level. Either they're, you know, all of the rest of they're all kickback. Or they're all Overload, and it's like, you're a big dumb bruiser, and I don't care about you.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you projecting a little bit? Just a little bit? I still like Overload. But yeah, no, this guy, I was actually really disappointed in him when he took a hostage, and I was like, oh, now you're just another villain.
I believed in you.
Yeah.
But that being said, I am really happy that he stuck around, and that we got, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show, that we got a little bit of mystery with him and the rest of his crew, too.
Totally.
Because he wasn't on the Alchemore Manifest, but when they finally were able to connect to a Cybertron database and pulled that, they found out, wait a minute, according to their records, he was on the Alchemore.
Yes.
What is that about?
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly what Night Chick in the chat was saying, is, well, we have the question of why wasn't Saberhorn in the database?
See, and the first time I watched this episode twice, and the first time I watched it, I definitely read that as there's something wrong with the Alchemore's manifest. Something got scrubbed or something got corrupted or something. And then watching it again the second time tonight, it was, everyone's reacting like there's an issue with the file itself. Like the file was doctored. Like there's something that he's covering up or something that someone is covering up about him. So I ran in a completely different direction than what the dialogue suggested.
Yeah.
So who knows?
We were talking about this earlier as a and not to go into like theories or predictions or anything like that, but it could be that this, again, we don't know a whole lot about what's going on Cybertron, and him and his crew had their own ship.
Yes.
It was their own ship. So it sounded like maybe Cybertron tried to do away with them in a completely different way, or tried to, like, you know, sweep them under the rug and just said, oh, yeah, no, they're all prisoners on the Alchemor Sea. It's on this database here.
Well, and that's, if we're still going, the whole file might be a lie.
Well, and DBZ King 02, I think, is sort of on the same lines that you're suggesting, Megan, which is it would be cool if Saberhorn and his merry men, his pirate cons,
pirate crew,
were the ones who caused the prison ship to crash, and then we just kind of swept it under the rug, like, oh no, he was totally imprisoned on that ship.
I thought it was Megatronus that did that.
It was Megatronus. We had that established, but we still don't really get the whole story.
That's very true.
Megatronus.
It was just dance, puppets, dance.
Yep.
Yeah, like I did that, but I didn't say how or why.
I do love Steeljaw just blaming it all on him.
Yep.
Like, sorry, Satan did that.
Yep.
I'd like to apologize.
Yeah, I was
buddy.
deceived, brother.
Yeah.
I want to take the time to apologize.
I am really desperate and can't find any other teammates right now. You'll do.
Love Steeljaw, you guys.
Troy Baker so much.
Well, let's finish up with Saberhorn, and then we will jump ship to him. So he was gathering thermitanium, which evidently can be smelted into a very temperature and pressure resistant metal.
Sure.
Which you use when you're making starships. So they're looking at this going, why does he have a starship? Why is he making a...
What I would kind of like is if, you know, this crew of pirates had been taken down by Cybertron and, you know, they were all presumed dead. And so, like, but they were actually, like, one of the reasons Cybertron wanted to do that is because this pirate crew got something or, like, obtained some form of information that Cybertron was like, no, we can't allow that. And caused them to crash on Earth.
I love that we've basically decided that Cybertron as it is kind of lawful evil right now.
I don't trust them.
I don't trust them at all.
No.
Yeah. No.
When Optimus said in the last episode, like, we'll do this for Cybertron, I was like, is it worth fighting for? I don't think so.
I feel like they went back and reinstated a whole bunch of things that the war was fought over.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I feel like nobody has learned anything. Yeah. I don't know. Again, it's still on the I want this list where Cybertron, what's going on right now? What are the politics? What does it look like? I need to know. Tell me more.
DBZ King 02 says, I assume of Cybertron, it's almost as bad as Gallifrey. I just needed to share that being a Doctor Who fan. Yep. And Jazzy J points out that the starship that we see them on does look kind of like the warship from Transformers Prime.
That's true.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Who knows if we've been going with, like, Beast Wars parallels? Who knows? These guys could have been here for a long time.
And there definitely are Beast Wars parallels going on because Polar Claw in the last episode was also a Beast Wars character. He was just like a one-off character on Beast Wars also.
Wow, I don't remember him.
Yep. He was only in one episode. As far as I recall, it has been a long time since I've seen Beast Wars, guys.
It's been a year and some change for us, but I just don't remember that.
I don't remember him either.
Yeah, no, but apparently, he's that is a direct reference to a Beast Wars character.
Well, I will just be thrilled as hell if they bring in Tigatron.
Or Ares. Well, no, they've already got a character.
Hang on a minute.
I got it ahead of myself.
Yep.
I will say I miss Fracture. I miss our little band of villains from last season, and I am sure they will be back.
I'm sure they will be.
Because they would not be making toys of Uncle PJ for this season's Happy Meals if he wasn't going to be back.
And I mean, we already have Kickback, who we saw in the last season, just randomly show up in this episode.
I didn't remember his name.
We had to look it up.
But
I felt bad for him last season when he was introduced because he was very much a patsy who just looked like he was just trying to get by. And then he got taken advantage of. And then here, he's like, no, I've got my own crew. They care about me. They appreciate me. And it's like,
no, they don't.
That's just what you tell yourself, isn't it?
They're using you, but they're using you in a different fashion than Steeljaw did.
Yeah. And Omega Buck 01 points out, clarified why none of us can remember Polar Claw. Apparently, it was only a toy and never actually appeared
that makes so much
in the
sense.
series.
Oh.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Thank you, Omega Buck.
I would have remembered that.
Yeah.
I definitely remembered Scorponok. I loved Scorponok. He was hysterical.
What I was trying to think is, I was like, is that one of the like 25 characters that was voiced by Scott McNeil?
Oh, I miss Dinobot.
My kingdom for a Dinobot in this series. Like, just do the thing, win the stuff.
But he has to be Shakespearean again.
Shakespeare, full on, bring Scott McNeil in. Just bring him back. Just bring him back. He did not deserve what he got. Bring him back.
Although it is kind of nice to see a character like Saberhorn brought in when we are used to seeing people like Dinobot. Like,
for sure.
That where it's like they're very much bad guys to an extent, although he became a good guy and back and forth, whatever.
Sure.
But he was so Shakespearean in everything he did, and so it's nice to see,
including internal monologues and soliloquy.
Yeah, no, he literally did a to be or not to be soliloquy at one point.
It was pretty great.
But that's one of the reasons I think I like seeing two new bots that are so thespian, I suppose. But yeah, I could definitely see, after having been introduced to these two, I could definitely see them bring in somebody who is very Shakespearean in their mannerisms and things like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I want it so bad.
We have Kickback, and we have Steeljaw basically following him and going, "You have a new team. I'm going to find them."
Yes.
Like, Kickback is not subtle.
No.
In any capacity whatsoever. So
No.
we basically end the episode with him coming into this ship that's crashed in the middle of the swamp, and I love the theory that it's Megatron's old ship.
Yeah.
Like, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, we know from Prime that there were a number of crashed Decepticon ships that were never, I mean, some of them were looked over, but that Starscream didn't necessarily do a good job of like actually grabbing materials from. Like, it's entirely possible that this was one that was just completely overlooked.
Very possible.
Yeah, could be anything.
Yeah. And I mean,
we-
Starscream's such a shady character anyway. It's like you never...
He might have known and just was like, I'm just going to keep that in my back
That's
pocket.
exactly what I'm saying. It's like, I feel like he could have very easily chosen to omit some key information.
Honestly, my kingdom for Starscream showing up in this series.
Oh my God.
Because
It would be
Prime
amazing.
was definitely a series that believed in showing you the body when someone died. And they cut away for Starscream.
Yep.
So I'm very much... It's less the, he has to be alive, and more... I really hope they take advantage of that. I hope they take advantage of the comic book death there and bring him in, because wouldn't that be amazing to have Starscream and Scorponok and Glowstrike and Steeljaw all trying to outmaneuver each other?
I know.
We could have an episode of nothing but Decepticons just making power plays and playing Xanatos speed chess. Sign me up. I want it.
Honestly, some of the most compelling stuff from Prime was Arachnid and Starscreams trying to one-up one another. Yes. And speaking of Arachnid, like, there was one character on the ship that very much looked like an orange reskin of a very arachnid-type design.
It was awesome. I got really excited about that. There's so much, like, conversation in the chat right now just about characters that they'd like to see, and a lot of them are, like the girl bots.
I was going to say, I see Chromia there.
Like Chromia and Elita 1. And Chromia was part of Elita 1's crew in
Absolutely.
G1
and same
Transformers.
with, like,
Moonracer.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah.
They were great.
So what I'm hearing is more female bots.
Yeah, more girls.
Bottom line, this is how we do it.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
Absolutely.
So yeah, evidently Kickback has been gathering cheese graters and small refrigerators and God knows what, and My Little Pony figurines. Question mark? No, seriously, that's what it was.
That is definitely what it was.
Definitely what it was. It was a pony figurine. Like, all right, yeah, brony bots, gotcha. For Scorponok and Glowstrike, who are the head of this little band of villains, mostly insects.
Yeah.
With the exception of the two Underbite reskins that seem to be guarding the door.
Yeah, well, because I mean, they classify him as a Chompazoid, so I guess there's more Chompazoids.
And we also saw two of the Cyclonus Minicons kicking around. Like we had last episode that they captured. So, okay, we have half of a combiner. Okay. So I will be intrigued to see who all we have in there and how they're going to play into this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we still have the away team to contend with.
I know. Well, and it was so interesting because in the last season, it was so much of like, okay, the Decepticons are all off doing their own thing, and it took forever for them to even sort of form a team. So to come in immediately this season
to have a team already
exactly
formed.
and see that there is this other Decepticon team that's already working together, and they're on this ship. And there's some sort of hierarchy going on here. It was really interesting.
Well, I feel like that team had all of season 1 to get their act together.
That's
and
true.
has been operating in the background
Accurate.
while Steeljaw was making a mess, and then we had to deal with Satan coming up from the depths.
Yeah.
I'm going to be very interested, just, again, to go back to that arachnid-looking one, and seeing how many things that they're blatantly pulling in from Beast Wars, which, again, I am all for. That's super exciting. But it's making me wonder if Arachnid and Black Arachnia are the same characters.
Well, that's exactly what Renji was just saying in the chat, is that it could be Black Arachnia.
Yeah, because, I mean...
But she was orange and blue.
I mean, Black Arachnia was gold
And black.
Yeah.
She was a Black Widow. That we had the black part in there.
Anyway, point being is that, like... Arachnid isn't necessarily the same character as Black Arachnia.
Sure,
so,
sure.
like, we could get another female spider bot in here at some point, and
I'd be down.
they are always really interesting to watch whenever they come in.
I would love for it to be Black Arachnia and be having this, oh God,
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
Like, not another one.
Exactly.
We had enough trouble.
Yep.
So we end our episode with, oh, I wish we just had a Decepticon we could trust, and Steeljaw just waltzing in the door like
Well,
no
hello.
big deal. You called. I cannot wait for him to be the Starscream
Oh my God.
of this little group of bugs,
It's gonna be
because
amazing.
you know he will be.
Yeah.
There's no way he's going to be someone's lackey, because
Oh,
that's
no.
what he was doing for Satan,
Yep.
and that didn't turn out super
Yep.
well.
Can we just talk about the fact that Glowstrike is voiced by Grey Delisle, or Grey Griffin is her name now, and that she kind of looks like Azula, so I got really happy.
She even
glorious.
shoots fireballs
Yes,
at
she
people.
Hence the name.
So good.
And Scorponok, you guys.
Yeah.
Scorponok.
And when we saw that it was Scorponok and Glowstrike, we immediately went like internet diving, going, okay, is Glowstrike a reference to anything? Because I don't remember her from Beast
Yeah,
Wars, and
no.
She's new.
she's an entirely new character.
amazing.
Which, I mean, we've been asking for more female bots,
Yeah.
and it's nice to get another female villain bot in
Yeah.
a leadership position.
Absolutely, yeah.
Pass the Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Pass the Bechdel test.
They separated
Oh.
Windblade and Strongarm, so that's not going to
They
happen for a
did.
while.
So it's like, yeah, okay.
Anybody feel like that might have been on purpose?
This is like dream for me until we have a like Strong Arm and Windblade versus Glowstrike. Amazing.
Can we have it? Can we have it, please?
I want it.
I would love it.
But she is interesting. I can't wait to see what she transforms into.
Oh,
yeah.
And I'm interested to see too more of her dynamic between Scorponok
Yeah.
and her, because she's clearly very frustrated, and he's like, we got to work with what we have.
Yeah.
And just from there,
He
it's
doesn't
like
have hands.
she seems to have a little bit more of an aggressive managerial style than he
Sure.
does. So I want to know about more of their dynamic, if theirs is an alliance of convenience, whether or not like there's any loyalty among thieves. I want to know more about these guys.
Yeah.
Scorponok doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
I was looking at that going, that's inconvenient.
Well, I like that he gets to be a leader this time around, because he's always been a patsy in like
Yeah.
everything that he's been in. So it's nice like to see what a character can be when they're not in like Megatron's shadow. Although, I miss Megatron. No big deal.
You're not gonna lie. Well, he's still kicking around somewhere, having a soul-searching world tour on
Yeah.
Cybertron.
But again,
so.
it's cool to see what someone can be when they're not in somebody else's shadow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
On that note, we should probably swing into predictions, because we are running low on time.
All right, let's do it.
And now, your AFTERBUZZ
And the light
TV
show.
predictions.
So we didn't have a trailer recorded for this one.
No.
So goodness knows what's happening next week. So do we have any long-term predictions then? Because we've also got the away team to contend with.
I know. I mean, I'm still going with the storyline of the slow burning respect for Optimus Prime on the part of Sideswipe.
Yes.
And seeing Steeljaw evolve into a, I believe, and so does chat, more competent Starscream kind of role.
Well, Starscream was pretty dang competent when he didn't get in his own way.
Yes.
It was very much an ego thing.
Absolutely.
So I think Steeljaw's got a leg up on that already.
I agree.
Yeah. No, it'll be interesting to see whether or not taking over their crew is going to be as easy for him as he probably thinks it is.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a prediction out of left field. I don't know. I think there might be a little bit of a romance going on between Drift and Windblade later on.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
I'd be down.
There were a few moments in the two-parter this last time around that I was like, does Drift have a thing for Windblade? And I was just like, so I'm like, I'd be interested to see if that goes anywhere, or if I'm maybe looking too much into it. I don't know.
Well, being a responsible father is an attractive quality.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. But yeah, no, I want more. I want more.
All I've got short term is that I would be surprised if next episode was not about the away team.
Yeah.
I looking at this, they're probably just going to go back and forth between the two.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I am sticking to my guns for my long-term prediction of Ratchet showing up. Probably in an away team episode, because he is the only bot who can get Optimus to sit down and take care of himself.
Yep.
And I get the feeling that we're going to need that, because they made a really big point of beating him up in the first 10 minutes.
We need a medic.
And then throwing him at the South Pole, because let's make things worse.
I would absolutely love that, especially because again we don't
the toy,
and we don't know if Ratchet's still on Earth or not. Because he chose to stay, but he might have come back. We don't know. I would love for them to bring in Ratchet so much.
We have the toy. It was released at the same time as Polar Camouflage Optimus, so I'm gonna sit here and be like, yes, I'm gonna hope.
There's nothing on IMDb about bringing him in, but again, that they tend to keep those things under wrap.
There's also nothing on IMDb for season 2 at this point.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
So it's kind of hard to look up voice actors that way.
Anywho,
So yeah, what do we have on iTunes?
Oh my goodness.
Because we adore you people. Thank you so much to everyone who leaves reviews.
Yes.
And when you do that, you help us out, and it turns out that publicists and guests also look at the reviews of a show.
Yes.
So, you might well help us get guests in, and that would be lovely.
Yes.
And when you leave a review, because we love you so much, you get a shout out on the show.
Yeah, so we got 2 really nice new reviews on iTunes since last week. One is called Rev Up and Roll Out with This After Show Must by the Writer's Quill. It is very long and just glowing, and just talks about how we're all so well versed in Transformers and we're funny, and they love that we have so many guests on from the show. Not only the actors, of course, but also the the writers and the artists and the directors.
They're fun to talk to.
Absolutely. And next week I want to get to it, because the last part, he, she, I don't know, Writer's Quill, let me know. Asks some really good questions, like for us to start off some discussion points.
Okay.
At the end of it. And then the other one is called I Have Found My People, 5 stars. This is by Fangirl Extreme, and basically it's an awesome Transformers after show. The hosts are all girls, and I live in an area where Transformers fans are hard to come across. And yeah, so basically being like, it's great because she feels like she can tune in and she's found her brethren. And I mean, and that's the point of these after shows, guys, is to reach out to you guys who don't necessarily have a lot of people in your immediate vicinity that you can talk about these things with. Like, we are your Transformers support group.
We are.
No,
tweet us, tell us things, start discussions.
My favorite thing that gets said about any of the after shows that I'm on, not just this one, is that is when people feel like they can't talk about the shows that they like with their immediate friends and family, and they don't have anybody to talk about these shows with, and then they listen to our podcast and they're like, I feel like I'm sitting down and talking with a bunch of friends about the show that I like.
That's what we are. I love these people. Even Lord Megatron.
You're okay.
Decepticons.
You're okay. You're okay for an Autobot.
This is as good as it gets. On that note, that is all we have for this week. We certainly have a lot to think about for next time.
We sure do.
But for now, Emma, where can the people find you?
You can find me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe, which is my name. You can find me on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzzTV.com. Later tonight, we'll be doing the Bob's Burgers after show at 10 p.m. Pacific. I also am on the Star Wars Rebels after show. I do Face Off. Follow me on Twitter. You'll know all about all the things that I do because I tweet a lot.
I'm Megan. You guys can follow me on Twitter at @TheMenguin and on Instagram. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz, and I write articles for The Movie Chick. That's Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet, and on Snapchat at Kia Prime. It's mostly Disneyland and cat pictures because that is how I roll. A lot of my after shows are on hiatus at this point, but Blind Spot is back. That's on Tuesdays. I am also on Star Wars Rebels, and this is a lovely thing to be on, you guys.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you all next week. Rev up and roll out.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.